All right, part 5. I do know what parts we're on now. Part 5 here, we're going to be going over the black cards here in Neon Dynasty, commons, uncommons, rares, and sorting by mana value within those. Starting off with Clawing Torment, single black for an aura. Enchant artifact or creature. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets -1/-1 and can't block. Enchanted permanent has at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. Is Voxy here? It's Withercrown, baby.
Yeah, Withercrown's back. So it's a little better than Withercrown though. I don't know. This is a weird one. The can't block clause definitely changes things here.
Mm.
It's got more stab wound vibes to me than Withercrown.
Yeah.
I think, right? So basically it kind of makes it a bad blocker because it literally can't block, and a worse attacker.
Mm-hmm.
And they also can't choose to sacrifice this thing, which they could with Withercrown. I think this card's actually, it's weird because it's not just like gonna be awesome in every board state. They're gonna play a 4/4 or whatever, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't really want to Clawing Torment that thing, but you put on there like their 1 or 2 power creature, and it becomes like close to not that great, and then they have to like it sits around and they start losing life. Maybe I'm like I'm talking up this card a little too much, but I think this card could be decent. Maybe look at it as a way to kill a 1 toughness creature if that's something that's prevalent in the format, and then some additional upside past that.
Yeah, you're not like, you would never play like more than one of these, would you?
No. I don't think so. I don't think you would. It's probably just going to be like a
D+.
I don't know. Probably something in that neighborhood. But it does give you a black enchantment for those things that matter about.
I guess be wary if you put this on. If you're like, oh, I'll put this on a small thing, shrinks it, and their opponent goes, well, I guess I'm gonna attack with it every turn. But
yeah.
then they could pick you, don't block it, and they pick it up with a ninjutsu thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that is pretty unfortunate.
But that's not really, like, I don't know. That you can, if you were thinking about that, you can stop that from
sure.
happening. Or what are you gonna give this?
Yeah, I would just say D+ probably.
Okay.
All right. Next up on the list, we got You Are Already Dead. Best card name in the set. A single black mana instant. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Draw a card.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting in a ninjutsu set, right?
Yeah, it's a very damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. You block, you get God. You don't block, you get God. Right?
Yeah.
That's sort of the idea. I don't think there's too many things that. I mean, you can also just like look at it this way. It's almost like a Blade Brand variant, right? Because you just like you block, your thing dies, then you draw a card. You essentially gave a death touch, right? It's just a cheaper Blade Brand. It's another way to look at it.
Or cheaper and you can't get blown out. Like
exactly.
You could get got when you went to cast Blade Brand.
I think for the most part, this is just better Blade Brand.
Yeah.
So that's a cool way to look at this card.
But you can't just like, you could just cycle Blade Brand. You can't do it.
Yes.
Do that with this.
Yes, that's true. That is a good point. Yes, you could just cycle Blade Brand. But it's weird because this card has like some medium lows and then some high highs, right? It feels really, really good when you get the 2-for-1 off of them, right? You bounce off a creature and then you just kill it.
Yeah.
I think overall it's not going to be a card you really want multiple of. So no. I would probably just average that out at around probably a C.
Yeah. Maybe I'm too low. I was gonna give this another D+.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not crazy about this card. I think it's fine.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
This next one.
I love this card.
Yeah, it's
nice
and
card's
sweet.
So good. Okiba Reckoner Raid is single black for a saga. First 2 chapters are the same. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then it flips into Nizumi Road Captain. It's a 2/2 creature with menace, and vehicles you control have menace.
Okay, so they just shoved as many words in this card as they could for your 1 mana. It's sort of like a vampire spawn in the sense that it comes in, drains them, leaves behind a 2-power body, but a menacing 2-power body and a menacing 2-power body because your vehicle's menace too. I don't know. I like this card quite a bit.
I think this card is great.
Yeah, I think this card's great too. It's I'm gonna start like maybe this is my first truly hot take of the set review, but I'm starting this as a B.
I'm going B-, but I don't think it's crazy to think of this as a pull into black.
No, I think it's gonna be one of Black's better commons.
Yeah, and like again, this is a menace creature that is cheap, that you can pick in a color with ninjas, that you can pick up, and then you're happy to replay this and get that drain. If you like, just how often did the drain from Diregraph Scavenger matter? I mean, obviously we talked about this. You just made the comment about the vampire spawn from AFR. Like, it matters, and being able to rebuy it and replay it is awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. It's sweet. All right, well, the one drops reign supreme once again, it seems. Next up, we've got Inkrise Infiltrator, 1 in a black for a 1/2 flyer. It's a ninja, human ninja. 4 mana, activated ability, 3 in a black. You can pump it, gets +2/+2.
I am less interested in this. Obviously, it's cheap. Right. It enables ninjutsu, but you'd rather have the black 1-drop or the blue 1-drop, like by quite a bit.
It's an enabler, and it's an enabler that's not like it's gonna be better than the 1-drop in the late game for what it's worth, right?
Sure.
3/4 flyer. Yeah. Like it probably is. It's gonna be worse than the 1-drop for sure. But, I think that it isn't like so much worse than it that I'm not gonna still give it a decent grade. Like I think this is still a C in a ninja deck.
Yeah, so it's like a synergy C, and I think otherwise it's like a C- D+. I don't think this is that good of a card.
No, I don't either, but I think it's totally serviceable. Maybe C- then. Let's go.
I think we can land on C-. That's
fair enough.
Next is Lethal Exploit. 1 on a black for an instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each modified creature you control as you cast this spell. It's interesting seeing the bleed. Like, modified it's slated as being the red-green thing.
Yeah.
And then the black removal spell cares about modified. That's weird.
And then, like, there's, white ninja.
Yeah,
stuff
right,
like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So baseline -2/-2 is going to kill a lot of things, especially the things that we've seen that you, like, really need to kill early. Just, like, the cheap ninja stuff, the cheap samurai stuff. And then I don't think it's often going to get to, like, -4 range, but I can easily see this being -3 in the mid-game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And and the fact that it's not, like, an aura or sorcery speed or whatever, like the fact that you can then, like the baseline of this being a combat trick, so you can kill a large thing with it in combat.
Yep.
I think this is gonna, I mean, whatever. Olivia's Midnight Ambush, I think, kind of underperformed, but I just think just like removal was kind of bad in that set in general because the creatures were also ETB goody. But I think Lethal Exploit is good. I'd probably start with like C+.
Yeah, I think so. I guess maybe you're gonna feel bad when they like, have the vehicle is the thing you need to kill, right?
Yeah.
And like -2 maybe isn't that much, but it helps in combat too. So I'm gonna start at I'll probably go B- on it, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah. All right, next up we've got Reckoner's Bargain. 1 in a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, you sack an artifact or a creature, and then you draw 2 cards and gain life equal to the sack permanent's mana value.
Whoa.
A little bit of a twist on
Altar's Reap.
Yeah, exactly. Altar's Reap or the one from AFR.
Deadly Dispute.
Deadly Dispute, that's the one. Gives you a different resource. Not mana, but life.
Yeah. I mean, again, whatever. Like, you can play one. Obviously, maybe some, like, black-red decks care about sacrificing things or getting stuff to the yard, but I don't think you're loading up. You can respond to removal with this, but I don't think you're loading up on these. Deadly Dispute effectively being, like, 1 mana. I'd much rather prefer the treasure than the life, I think.
The active treason effect in this format, for what it's worth, is 5 mana. So it's not. we're not gonna have a bunch of AFR flashbacks in this happening.
I give this another D+.
I would actually I think you're gonna play this a little more often than that. I'd give it a C+. Or sorry, a C-.
C-. Okay, sure.
Yep.
Return to action. 1 on a black for an instant. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains lifelink, and when this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control.
Yeah, this kind of does a lot for.
That's a big swing. I mean, it's just
swinging life. Like this is
lifelink.
Two types of things in a combat trick that I really like. Right? It's the not combat trick exactly, but this style of card where it's a card that gives you a big swing of life, and these reanimating things, the things that come back, have always been. I can't remember a set where that card was bad, right? It just like comes back tapped or whatever. Get through your ETBs, get through your trigger, just bring back your thing big. I guess maybe the counter from the last 2 versions we saw matters, but I think I've always been impressed with that ability. So
yeah. I mean, Blessed Defiance.
Yeah,
ish.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Oof.
Blessed Defiance ended up being like what, a B- level card, a C+ level
card. I mean that was
that was a confluence of factors for sure.
I think I'm gonna start on a C- here for return to action.
I'm gonna give it a C. I think there's enough good stuff going on here.
Into that.
All right. Next up, a Virus Beetle. 1 and a black for an artifact creature. It's a 1/1, and in ETBs, your opponent discards a card. Okay.
Okay, so Ravenous Rats with types.
Yeah, good for the sacrifice deck, right? Good for the artifact synergy decks. Black white wants this card. I think it's sweet. I think it's pretty darn decent.
Yeah, this seems good to me. It doesn't seem like there's not a lot of. I guess there's some stuff that cares about things in your graveyard, but it's not like flashback and disturber floating around where like your opponent doesn't care about discarding stuff. So where do you? And I guess just a bot, just like the Spirited Companion in white. This is just the absolute reverse of that, right? It's in black, it's an artifact, and they discard instead of draw. Obviously, drawing is better than your opponent discarding, but all of the things about that card, the white card, make this good in terms of, you have reconfigure floating around, so there's ways to make this body relevant as well.
Yeah, I think this is very gluey for what black's trying to do. A lot of black stuff. So I would just give this a C+, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to start C+ as well. I like this quite a bit. Our next up is Chain Flail Centipede. 2 and a black for a 2/2. Artifact creature equipment insect. When it or equipped creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn and has reconfigure for 2. So this attacks as a 4/2, or the equipped creature when it attacks gets +2/+0.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit junky, right? Like this just feels junky to me.
Yeah.
Like attacking as 4/2 is okay.
I don't like any of this.
Like yeah, like the thing about reconfigure is odd. Like often when you attack with your 4/2, they're just gonna trade off, and if you're not looking to trade off with this, it just like sits around as a 2/2, which isn't D. I think this is probably just a D.
Yeah, I'm going D as well.
Yeah. Dead to the Kami. This is 2 and a black for an instant. Choose one. Target opponent exiles a creature they control, or target opponent exiles an enchantment they control. Okay, so a little Farika's Cure, or not Farika's Cure, but there was a similar card in Theros, Beyond Death to this.
Yeah.
That this is more moldable. They can just make them sacrifice a creature.
Okay, I mean, it's not great.
No, it's not. That card was also never great. But the thing with the enchantment thing is you can often nab. Like they'll only usually have 1 enchantment, although maybe that's up a little bit in the set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think this is a particularly good card. I'd just give this a D.
Yeah. Ooh, black not getting the business so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
I said so far. Kaito's Pursuit is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards. Ninjas and rogues you control gain menace until end of turn.
I have no idea what it is, Ethan, but in the past, 3 sets, I've just fallen in love with mind rotting my opponent. I don't think it's actually very good, but whenever my opponent's on the play and they've mulligan and I have a mind rot in my hand, I'm like, oh, look, I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm like, oh baby, and so it's we've had a few mind rot variants in the past that have definitely been overperformers, right? We get Mind Drain. There's another one not too long.
Format All-Star Aim for the Head.
Aim for the head, yeah, exactly. there's been a few in there that have been okay, and I don't think that the ninja bonus on here adds too much to it, honestly. So no, I would just start another D. We've got all these we're filling out all these we're checking all these boxes for as far as black commons go. It's all right, you get the sacrifice effect and the discard effect and the combat trick or whatever. Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can get to some juicy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nizumi Blade Blesser is 2 and a black for a 3/2 rat samurai. It has death touch as long as you control an artifact, and it has menace as long as you control an enchantment. So a little nod to the black-white control both, and it's a 3/2 death touch menace, which is nothing to sneeze at.
And a samurai?
Right, and a samurai, so it could attack alone and get some bonuses. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Death Touch Menace is a nice little combo. And just Death Touch alone or Menace alone, actually, that the 3/2 Menace for 3 is a good stat line.
That's good.
Right?
Bogger
3/2 Death Touch for 3, also pretty decent stat line. Not bad at all. Yeah, I mean, I think all in all, this card reads to me like a pretty good card on the surface.
I mean, we're talking about these things like they're free. They're not free. You have to have an enchantment to get the one thing. You have to have an artifact to get the other thing. So I don't know. I don't think this is anything. This feels like a C to me.
Yeah, no, me too. I think so too. That's reasonable. Next up, we've got Reckoner Shakedown. This is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card for it. If you do, that player discards that card. If you don't, you put 2 counters on a creature or a vehicle you control.
No, I mean, no.
Yeah, we don't usually like these effects. There's rare occasions where they're good, but I don't think this is going to be one of those versions.
Yeah, I would go. I'm getting a D-.
Yeah, another D minus. Yeah.
Okay. Black, but you had a good one drop. What's going on? Ooh, I do like this card. Undercity Scrounger. Cool. Tuna black for a 1. Oh my god, Tuna black for a 1/4. I thought this was a 2/3. Tuna black 1/4, even better. Artifact creature, human rogue. Tap, create a treasure token. Activate only if a creature died this turn.
Yeah, this is sweet.
This is sweet with the 1-drop uncommon that sacks artifacts or creatures to draw a card. You get build your own little Skullport merchant.
Yeah, you can build your own Deadly Dispute with this too, with the
right.
sacrifice something 2 mana. Yeah, I mean it blocks well. It's an artifact, it's a rogue, right?
You can activate this on both turns. Like it doesn't have to be a thing dying on your own turn.
Something dies in combat. Like yeah, I'm a fan of this. I think I'd probably get a C+.
C+. I mean we got to give black something.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Kami of Terrible Secrets. 3 and a black for a 3/4. It's a spirit. When it ETBs, if you control an artifact and an enchantment, you draw a card and you gain a life. Ooh, interesting.
I mean, that ceiling is high.
Ceiling's high, floor low. The 4 mana 3/4. I think if your deck can if your deck can reliably enable this, you should put it in your deck. If you're unsure if it can or not, you probably shouldn't. Essentially, yes, it's like a synergy. I would say like a synergy C+ or B-, but the fail case is just pretty bad. So, you'll know when you want it. Was what I would say.
I think synergy C+ seems good to me.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm fine with that. Next is Muktai Ambusher. 3 and a black for a 3/2 rat ninja. It's also an artifact creature. It's got lifelink, 4 mana 3/2 lifelink, but it also has ninjutsu for 1 and a black.
Love that lifelink. So the face up rate on this card is very bad. 3 mana or 4 mana 3/2. But if you can ninjutsu it in, like it doesn't quite have a hit trigger, but like it kind of does in a way because it has lifelink. It's kind of like hit trigger gain 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a tough one. If you've got a good if you get in a good ninjutsu deck, this card's probably pretty good. And in a bad ninjutsu deck, I think it's probably not so good. Or like if you don't have a lot of the enablers, essentially.
In black, white, or blue, black, when you've got the 1-drop flyers,
exactly.
You're thrilled. Exactly. How backbreaking will it be to have this come in on turn 2?
So can I talk you up on the 1 mana?
You can talk me up. I gave it a C+.
Yeah, it's not quite my tempo, but we'll just focus on this ambusher here. I would give this one probably just a C-, I think, maybe a C.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna go. Yeah, C- is probably
I'm gonna go
fair.
C-. It seems a little bit more junky than good, even though lifelink is great.
I know.
Next up, Twisted Embrace. 4 mana, 2 black for an enchantment aura. You enchant a creature or an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. As long as the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+1.
Whoa, that is weird.
Well, it's very similar to Iroas's Blessing or Blessing of Iroas, whatever that card is called.
Yeah.
Yeah, just deal 4. And that card was really good. That was Red's best common and one of the top commons in the set.
Yeah.
So I was talking about how your expensive removal spells have to give you some amount of value. That value can just be my attacker attacks past your 3-drop and I'm hitting you for 4. That's a lot of damage. You know what I mean? Like the turn where you go kill your biggest thing, I get in a big attack. That's a big swing.
Yeah, that's huge.
So yeah, I think this card's pretty good. It's obviously got the downside of it's a bit if your opponent has an interaction spell, they can get this out from under you or whatever. But on curve, this card is great.
Yeah. Oof, I like this.
I would give this a B.
A B?
Yeah. I'm 4 mana removal spells and me are not friends, but just the curve of this is so brutal so much of the time.
I'm in for B on this. All right.
Sweet.
Next up is Kami of Restless Shadows. 4 and a black for a 3/3 spirit. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Return up to 1 target ninja or rogue creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Those are 2 very different modes.
Yeah, one is very, very good, and one is not so good.
Right. 5 mana 3/3 Gravedigger? Yes.
Great.
5 mana 3/3 other thing? No, not so much.
Not that great. I imagine this is more bad than good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a card in Eldraine that did this for knights, right? Or is that right?
Yeah. It was a 3/4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would just put this as like a D+. It's got some decent stuff going on, but I don't think you want this in a ninja deck. ostensibly, but I also don't think you want this to be
Right, you don't think you actually want
you
this
know
in
what I
a ninja
mean?
deck,
Like,
yeah.
so I would just give it a D+.
Yep, that's fair. What's last here in the commons?
Dakuchi Shadowwalker, 4 black for a 5/5. So it's 6 mana for a 5/5. But ninjutsu for 4 mana, 3 and a black.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, just
We
hit ya.
saw a very similar card to this in Modern Horizons, right?
Yes, Ninja, I don't want to try to remember the name, but it was a 6/3. It just dealt so much damage. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, this card's going to be a little bit underrated, I think. As this looks like a vanilla big dummy.
How many content creators, like Ryan Sachs tweeted about this, you and I are going to say underrated. Like, how many times do people need to hear it's underrated, you think, for it to be properly rated?
Yeah, the first time they get hit for 5 on turn 4, I think they'll I think they'll kind of start to get the picture. But yeah, like this it's not quite. It's kind of like I was talking about with the life linker, where it's like it's not quite a hit trigger, but like getting hit for 5 is a whole lot, and having a 5 like
it's a quarter of your life total.
Right, essentially a 5 mana 4 mana 5/5 haste is quite good. So I would put this in the like the C+ category, maybe even B-.
You'll not. Do you think you need to give it a synergy grade, or you think it's just gonna be good?
No, I mean, just like, as far as, I wouldn't give it a synergy grade, just be aware that you want cheap cards, of course, to get this in.
All right, Dockside Chef is our first black uncommon here. It's single black for a 1/2 enchantment creature human citizen. And you can pay 1 and a black to sacrifice an artifact or creature and draw a card.
Yeah, so it's a smaller Skullport Merchant. It doesn't give you a treasure. It doesn't give you that, the first one in the house, essentially.
Right.
But with all the stuff we've seen going on, yeah, this seems sweet. This is going to draw you so many cards. This is also very similar to the, what's it called? The 3 mana from Theros Beyond Death. All the Theros Beyond Death parallels in this set, but the Mogus card is like a 3 mana 2/3 sacrifice creature. Yeah, you draw a card. That was sweet. And this is a similar card. The body's not as good, but cheaper to sacrifice, which I think is a positive exchange. So yeah, I think this card's quite good. I'd probably give it a B-.
Yeah, I'm in for B- on Dockside Chef. This is exactly my kind of card.
Also cheap enchantment, right? Cheap enchantment for getting the enchantment matter stuff going.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got Dakuchi Silencer. This is 2 mana for a 2/1 human ninja. Ninjutsu 2 mana. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can discard a creature card. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Hooey.
Whoa.
So like bone splinters from your hand, essentially, which is kind of a weird way to look at it, but yeah, that's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So
you get to just turn your 1 mana 1/1 flyer into bone splinters.
Right, I guess that's the thing, where you pick up something that's cheap and not that great.
You
get to turn that into something that is great, a free removal spell, essentially.
But then this also isn't great. Though I guess they need to block it, but they will be able to because it's a 2/1.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of got this 2/1 sitting around, but I think that's a fine exchange.
How do you grade this? This is tough.
Good question. Yeah, great question. It's a little finicky.
Right? Yeah, that's
what
I think.
A little setupy. I think I want to give it a probably like a B-.
Whoa.
But
yeah, that feels high to me.
Maybe it's a bit high. Yeah, maybe it's a bit high.
I think I'm just gonna go C on this.
Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. I'll actually join you there. I think maybe it's a little bit like the upside's high, but maybe it's a bit too finicky.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. All right, Leech Gauntlet. It's Batterskull. 1 and a black for a 2/2 artifact creature equipment leech with lifelink, and equipped creature has lifelink for a reconfigure cost of 4.
I truly did think this was Batterskull-esque when I hadn't quite internalized that not all the reconfigured creatures didn't give their stats to whatever they're equipping to. This just gives lifelink, not +2/+2. I was like, holy crap, what are they doing?
Yeah.
But the card's still good.
It's so good.
2 mana 2/2 lifelink is a great stat line, and giving anything lifelink, even if it's 4 mana, that's good too. So I think this
wears augmentations well and also augments things quite well.
I give this a B.
I agree. I think this is awesome.
Sweet. Next up, Nizumi Prowler. 2 and a black for a 3/1. It's a rat ninja ninjutsu for 2 mana, 1 and a black. So 2 mana, both sides. Whenever it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. Interesting. So this can itself, get a little bit of a lifelink hit. You can also, your opponents are going to be incentivized to block when they think you might be playing ninjas. So you go, okay, they go, okay, block, and you go, okay, my small little thing that didn't get in, that now turns into a Death Toucher. so your larger creature dies. Also, this is one where I think it might be relevant. Again, you need like two of these or one of these in the bounce creature. But because this is cheap, you can keep looping this where you go give multiple things lifelink and death touch, right? So in the ideal world, you have two of these and you do this twice, or you have the bounce one, so you like bring that back, do it again. Yeah, not going to come up a lot, but I just want to note that is something with the cheap ninjutsu creatures. This card's quite good, I think.
This card's really good. And you're also just happy to, like, you have only one attack or whatever. You're just also happy to just play this, give that attacker death touch and lifelink until end of turn.
There's a lot of lifelink, actually, in this set. And I'm thinking about it, like, in white and in black. We've just seen a lot of incidental lifelink.
Someone's asking, is this better than the Bone Splinter, the ninja we just saw, the Bone Splinter one? And I think yes.
I think yes, yeah. Yeah.
But why? Why are we giving us something? Why are we grading this higher when this doesn't let you, like, I mean, in theory, the other thing is better, right? You get to just, like, straight up kill whatever you want. But sort of, this does the same thing and is a better body.
It does a similar thing. Lifelink is
also
a big
an
part
artifact.
of this, too. Lifelink's great. It's an artifact. It also is less finicky, less setup.
Yeah. I like this. This feels like a B to me.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, all right. Another saga here. We've got Life of Toshiro Umezawa. So these abilities will look familiar to folks. This is 1 and a black. First 2 chapters are the same. Choose one. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Or you gain 2 life. And then on the flip side, you exile it. It comes back as Memory of Toshiro. It's a 2/3 enchantment creature, and you can tap to pay 1 life, add black mana. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell.
So let's talk about those first 2 chapters first. When you get to kill something, it's gonna feel really, really good. Like when your opponent plays one of those awesome 1-drops we've been talking about, and then you kill this one, you kill on turn 2. Oh man, do you feel on top of the world?
Yeah.
And then they like can't play. Like imagine you're on the draw. Right, they go play a 1-drop. You go, all right, land. They go play a 2-drop creature. That 2-drop creature also has negative or 1 toughness. You get to like kill both of them over the course of 2 turns. That's just an absolute nightmare. Now that is not going to happen all that often, but I don't think it's too rare that you're going to be able to nab something with the -1, right? Mm-hmm. And if you can't,
or the other you make a weird attack, and because you're in black, they block it, and then you go, okay, you attack your 2/2 into their 3/3, they block, and then you go, cool, finish it off.
Yep, and the other modes are good too. You know, if you can't boost something or gain some life at the worst. And the backside, it's not amazing, but I think 2/3 is fine. Like this is more a card that the front side is actually, or the chapters are more exciting than the backside, I think, or at least where usually it was like, okay, you're doing some effect, and then you get to the payoff. This is more like even on both sides potentially.
Yeah, the backside here is not incredible, right?
No,
like,
this is more.
It's kind of weird.
It's a callback to Toshiro Umezawa. That's the whole idea here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a super powerful thing or anything. I don't think.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you grade this?
I'm gonna give this a B.
Really?
Yeah, I think when it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it's still gonna be okay.
Yeah,
it gives me slight Elspeth's Nightmare vibes. Like not as good. Yeah, it's not gonna be as good. I know that, but that card was busted. So.
All right. Maybe I'm too low at C+, but that's where I'm landing here.
All right, fair enough. All right, here it is. Enormous Energy Blade. Tuna black. 3 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. Whenever the blade becomes attached to your creature, you tap that creature. Equip 2.
I honestly don't know how this made it to print.
Yeah. This just seems like a joke they made.
It's a joke, and they were like, they'll never let us make this joke, right? And then they did.
Yeah, and then they just sort of like,
This card is terrible, right?
This card's really bad. Yeah, we already made the point that, like, normal equipment get worse when there's reconfigure, but, like, the upside here is not very good, and it's a clunky equipment, and there's a downside. I think this is just a straight F. I think you should not put this card in F.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, next up we've got Gravelighter, 2 and a black for a 2/2 spirit with flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card if a creature died this turn. Otherwise, each player sacrifices a creature.
This is sweet. Yeah, so I think these kind of effects is kind of like, Fleshbag Marauders tend to be a little bit overrated. But I think this one is really quite good. Just like the fact that you're already, again, I'm talking about how combat's going to be incentivized in the set. Morbid's going to happen, I think, fairly often. And so you're gonna draw a card on your Windrake, or just like turn this into Cloud Conceer. That's great. And then if not, you have the buyout mode of each player sacrifices a creature. I think this card's fantastic.
Yeah, I like this.
I think this is a B+.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. I just think this is gonna be Cloud Conceer enough for the time.
I'm not quite that high. I definitely think it's a pull into black as a B-, but B+ seems...
Yeah, I could be. It's just part of the appeal of Cloud Conceer is you can play it on 3 and like hit lands and start to do stuff like that. So maybe I'm maybe I'm talking up a bit much in that regards, but I think you're gonna draw a card off this so much of the time.
Yeah. All right. Sweet.
All right. Next up, Malicious Malfunction. 1 black sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, and if a creature would die this turn, you exile it instead.
Stuff feels small in this set.
Stuff does feel small. Yeah, I agree.
It's really hard to evaluate these cards from set to set.
When's the last time this was good? Like, there's Vampire's Vengeance, which, it varied from, really, really good to, kind of medium to uncastable sometimes. But there was blood to kind of mitigate that. But when was the actual black -2 good? I think there was one.
In Rivals of Ixalan. But but part of why that was good was that when you had the City's Blessing, it only affected your opponent's creatures.
Right, yes, that was a huge part of it.
So I don't know. I don't know what the only other version I can think of is Cry the Carnarium, and that was terrible in Ravnica Allegiance. So
gonna bookmark it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna start by saying that this is good, but I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean, it's a B? Does that mean it's a C+?
There's
like,
a huge range there.
Do you have to build around it? So I'm fine with a good old question mark here.
Yep, huge range.
All right, what's next?
Next up is Unforgiving One. This is Tuna black for 2/3 menace creature, so 3 mana. When Unforgiving One attacks, return target creature with mana value X or less from the grave to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control.
So weird.
Yeah, not gonna bring back big things very often, I would say.
No.
2 drops? 1 drops? Yeah, sometimes. Like, sometimes, not even necessarily,
Snap up those, whatever, the Iron Apprentice.
Sure, yeah.
That's dying, you're modifying. I mean, this card is, again, super weird to evaluate.
I think this is pretty bad for the most part. I would just give this like a D+. I think this is not
I think that's fine.
Card you particularly want.
Yep.
The baseline is not very good. 2/3 menace is whatever. It's got some, ninjutsu applications. But I think the thing is, with ninjutsu, when we're talking about enablers, there's a big difference between 2 and 3. That's kind of where the is, right? It's okay to pick up a 2-drop or a 1-drop or, an expensive thing with an ETB. If your evasive thing isn't cheap or doesn't have an enter the battlefield effect, I think it gets a lot worse for that kind of, in that context.
Yeah. All right. Assassin's Ink is next. 2 black for an instant. Costs 1 less to cast if you control an artifact and 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment. And you destroy a target creature or planeswalker.
Just a good removal spell,
I think of note, folks are like we're already getting some large high grades here in chat. I think this is worse than the common.
The aura one?
The aura?
The instant matters a lot. I think instant does matter a lot over a sorcery. I mean, I agree with your sentiment here. Like, I think, like we always say, I think removals are good, but they're not like the end all be all. They're not amazing. I would give this a B+ or a B, probably trending more towards B, but it's a good card.
What was the one from Dominaria? Settle the score.
It was a sorcery that exiled.
Yeah, sorcery that exiled. And I think, and I guess you could it cost less if you had a planeswalker or something. I don't know. People love that card, but it was worse than the common removal spell. I don't know. The cost reduction here is fine, and instant is good, but yeah, it's just removal.
Yep, that's good. I mean, I think I'm just gonna settle on a B.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Which I think is what I gave the common one. So
yeah,
we'll see where it lands. I mean, instant, to give this card credit, instant is a pretty big upgrade over sorcery for removal spells, so you can leverage it in combat and stuff. So
yeah.
Moving on, we've got Go Shintai, of Hidden Cruelty. 3 and a black, 4 mana for a 2/2. It's the Black Shrine. It's got Death Touch, so 2 mana Death Touch, not bad.
4 mana Death Touch.
Oh, sorry, 4 mana Death Touch. 2/2 Death Touch is what I meant to say. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, destroy a target creature with toughness X or less, where X is the number of shrines you control.
I mean, the upside is huge here. Just how often is this going to happen?
You got to have a lot of shrines to
Mm-hmm.
to get going, right? I guess this has the best buyout clause out of any of the shrines. Probably it's just like a thing you can trade off. Although 4-mana thing you can trade off is not that exciting, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I honestly like. I so wonder what these would have been like as not creatures and like a mana cheaper.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I'm not crazy about any of these shrines, to be honest.
I mean, there are, I think from what we've seen, a decent amount of X ones, to be fair, right?
Sure.
Just like, I'm sure, I think on most board states, this will come down and then kill something next turn. But that's next turn. Or unless he passes on 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really slow, I think. I would think I would give this a D+ on its own.
D+, you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna go like build around C or something, C+, but... I don't know how to evaluate these cards. All right, next we've got the Long Reach of Night, 3 and a black for a saga. First 2 chapters, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. In the third chapter, it flips into Animus of Night's Reach. It's a 0/4 enchantment creature spirit. It has menace, and when it attacks, it gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in defending player's graveyard.
So it's a slow mind rot, where they can kind of see the second one coming. Where kind of makes it worse than if they had to discard just 2, I would say, at the same time. They're not going to sacrifice creatures almost always. There's going to be, I mean, that's not true. They might sacrifice a smaller creature, which does make it worse, right? Because they have the choice to sacrifice a token, like a 1/1, or a good thing with the good sacrifice effect. So it's not even just Mind Rot. I think that the first 2 chapters are not actually very good. There's going to be spots where you feel it, but yeah, I'm not all that impressed with it. The backside, it's going to be a decent body. 2/4 menace, 3/4 menace. Late game, it's gonna be pretty large sometimes, 5/4 or something. But I think this is the kind of card that I think is slow. Like I was talking about the difference between like a slow saga that still has power and like a slow saga that doesn't do that much and maybe isn't that powerful. I think that this is more on that side.
Yeah, I think I'm in for that assessment. Someone in chat is pointing out a pretty weird edge case, but the way it's worded is if they don't have creatures, the first 2 chapters don't do anything.
Oh,
it's not like sacrifice a creature unless they discard a card, so they could just be like, cool, I'll sacrifice a creature, I have nothing to sacrifice.
And if they don't have creatures in hand, they do have to sacrifice. They don't have a choice. So that's interesting wrinkles on the card, right?
No, they don't have to have creatures in hand, do they? What?
No, they have no cards in hand, though. I'm saying
they will have to sacrifice a creature.
Yeah, I'm saying like each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. If they can't discard a card, they have to sacrifice.
They have to sacrifice a creature.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the best case scenario.
Yeah. I think too expensive, too finicky. I don't know. These like
this feels. I mean, I've liked most of these sagas. I don't like this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would give this one a D.
Yeah, D seems good to me. What's our last uncommon here?
Keva Salvage is our last one. 4 and a black, 5 mana for a sorcery. Return target creature or vehicle card from your grave to the battlefield, then put 2 counters on it, 2+1/+1 counters on it to be specific, on that permanent, if you control an artifact and an enchantment. No. Whatever.
It's not these these rise from the dead, whatever they're called, effects are just not. They're just not good.
Not great. I'm gonna give it a D. I mean, 2 counters is nice. Don't like if you can fulfill that requirement. That is a meaningful upgrade, but these cards are never exciting, essentially. So I'm pretty.
Black is pretty bad. Right?
I don't know if I would. Yeah, it's feast or famine for sure. There's some really good ones, and there's some like not so hot ones, which definitely leads to like the enticing ones. Like at least with blue, I think what happens often when people draft, especially early in the format, is the blue cards don't look as obviously great as the good black cards. The good black cards are just like removal spells, So that often leads black to being a place where if it's just got its removal spells and a few others, it can kind of be a bit lackluster because everybody's fighting for it. So, yeah. We'll have to see. Not going to call anything just yet.
All right. Into the rares. March of the Wretched Sorrow. X and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand. It costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life.
Yeah, this is a good effect. This is a really nice effect. The deal X damage, you gain X life is you kill a thing and then you gain 4 or 5 life. Worth noting, you can just like pump all your mana into it. If they have a 4/4, you can still pump 6 mana into it. gain more life than than its toughness, right? So yeah, this is a potent combination. Often, like, you'll have those turns where they have mana up. You can like, well, I could go for lethal here, and they have to have like 2 removal spells to take me off lethal. No, they just have to have 1 March of the Wretched, and they kill a thing and gain a bunch of life. So yeah, powerful effect. I would put this at like a A-.
You say A-?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna go B+ on
Sweet.
March of Wretched. That card's great.
Yeah,
Blade of the Oni. What's that?
Oh yeah. So we got a mythic reconfigure here. It's 1 and a black for 3/1 menace. Okay, interesting. It's a good stat line. 3/1 menace for 2. The equipped creature has base power and toughness 5/5 and menace, and is a black demon in addition to its other colors and types. Reconfigure to black.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so beat her early. When that becomes hard to get in or a little bit irrelevant, suit it up to your 1/1 flyer or whatever, and you got a big old 5/5 flyer menace.
Yeah, I mean, this
That's
reconfigure cost is so cheap for you.
Yeah, it is pretty cheap. Yeah,
this card is really good.
Yeah, priced for competitive play at some to some degree. So yeah, I would give this one an A.
Yeah, I'm going A-. I love it. This card's wildly good.
It's great.
Right.
Next up we've got Makatai Soul Ripper. It's 1 and a black for a 4/3 vehicle. Whenever the Soul Ripper attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, you put a counter on it, and it gains menace until end of turn, and it's got crew 2. So back again, vanilla test, 2 mana, crew 2, 4/3. That's actually okay.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. And immediately you get to sacrifice a creature. Like, you can turn this into a crew 2 5/4. That's beefy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just not willy nilly you're gonna be able to sacrifice something, but if you've got anything that's good to sacrifice, yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that. Again, these two mana vehicles are a lot better in my mind than the more expensive ones. I would go, I don't know, B- on this. Maybe it's even better.
Yeah,
maybe even like in a black-red sacrifice deck, it goes up a little bit. But I think in most black decks, it's just going to be like a B-.
I would say B-. Chat pointed out Renegade Freighter vibes. Got a little bit of that. Yeah, I would say B- for this one.
Next up is Tribute to Hirobi. It's a saga, 1 and a black. First 2 chapters, each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature token. And then on the 3rd chapter, it flips to Echo of Death's Wail. It's a 3/3 enchantment creature spirit with flying and haste. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of all rat tokens. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card.
Okay, so the suspend-ish, vibe going on here is not like you don't want to spend too much time in the 2 chapters, right? Those are bad 2 chapters to be in. And your opponent can obviously it's weird because they can block with those early, so you're not really able to get in attacks, and if they have ways to sacrifice, obviously it's not so good. And they can attack with them freely, or I guess maybe just one of them, because that's really all the combat they're gonna get is just attacking with the one of them. So there's some room for things to go wrong there, but the payoff is really good, right? You're ending up with a 2 mana 3/3 haste flyer that will draw you some cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of that combined, it's a little bit of risk with a pretty high reward, I would say. 2 mana is just also so cheap for this. I think this card's really good.
I think so too. I mean, yes, folks are pointing out they can ninjutsu
that's
the
true.
rats away.
That's
fine, that can happen sometimes. I don't think that's gonna not and everybody is not having ninjas all the time. It's not how it's gonna work. So yeah, I think this card's really good. This feels like a B+ to me.
Yeah, I'd even go A- territory as I tend to do. So next up we got Biting Palm Ninja. 2 and a black for a 3/3 ninja. It's got ninjutsu for 3 mana, so same as its casting cost. It enters the battlefield with a menace counter on it. Okay. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, you can remove a menace counter from it, and when you do, the player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, exile that card.
Ooh.
This card's a beating. Wow.
Yeah.
So just the information you get from a hand reveal was pretty darn nice. Taking a card, this isn't like Concealing Curtains where it's cycling a card, like Vanillion clicking it away. You're actually getting a card for good, right? And the whole idea with this card is you pick it up again with your other ninjas and you can do it again, right? So,
I guess, yeah.
No, I mean, well, okay, sure. You're happy with what you've already done.
Well, but what I'm saying is, once this has connected and you've picked off a card, I mean, if your 3/3 is going unblocked again, to then be picked up again, for you to then have another unblocked creature to replay this and get a card from their hand, that feels like You're winning that game of Magic, my friend.
Yeah, because this card's awesome. Anyways, yeah, sure. It's a little bit, yeah, you know, maybe you don't have to go that far, but this card's quite good.
Yeah.
Like just even if just 3/3 menace, like you don't even have to introduce this in. Just put
Right,
it
3 mana 3/3 menace that threaten that is just like you better have blockers for this. You have to you basically like can't you have to either kill this or you can never attack.
Yep.
Because you need to leave back at least 3 blockers just like to like play around removal and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. What do you want to give this? I'm
gonna go.
Give this a B+.
Yeah, I go. I'm just like one half. I'm just like one gradation lower than you for all these cards. Next up we have Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion. 1 black for a 3/2 rat ninja with ninjutsu for 3 and a black. Whenever Nashi Moon Sage's Scion deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library until end of turn. You may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost.
I wonder if this one's worse than the other one, the one we just saw. Like, 4 mana to ninjutsu, and the normal body 3/2 is not as good, right? It's a 3/3 menace, and it's more to ninja, and that ability to like Bulls' Citadel to pay life instead of mana is actually really powerful. Like just getting a free spell.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it is or isn't better. I'm just saying I think they're kind of close cards essentially. But yeah, when you ninja this in and you hit a spell off either player, and it's not even you can play a land too, so it's not even like it's that bad if you just hit lands, right? Hitting land drops is also going to be pretty good. But hit any spell, even if it's like a 5-drop spell, heck, it's probably, I was going to say, it sucks if you hit an expensive spell, but no, it's great if you can hit an expensive spell and cast that early for a bit of life, right? You hit a 5-drop, you hit a 6-drop or whatever, that's pretty powerful. And then if you hit a cheap card, great too. Okay, so maybe I'm talking myself into liking this card a little bit more, because you get 1 ninjutsu trigger with this, and you're just up such a mana advantage and card advantage.
Yes, that's true. Though, I mean, yeah, you could whiff, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But that's unlikely from both libraries.
I think once you hit with this and you hit any spell, you're gonna pull quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, I think another B plus.
Yeah, I would give this one a B+ too.
Yeah. All right, Soul Transfer. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is a 1 black sorcery. It's a rare. Choose one. If you control an artifact or an enchantment spell, you can choose both. So the 2 options are exile target creature or planeswalker, or return target creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Very simple card, right? It's just like modal removal spell or creature rebuy. If you got the artifact and enchantment, you got both of them. Requirement, you get to do both, which is good, really good.
Yeah, that seems sick.
Yep, I like this a lot.
Good early, good late. I really like this. I mean, B+, A-. Yep,
I think B+ is nice.
Yeah, B+. All right, next up is Cenari Toad Rider. 2 and a black for a 3/3 legendary human ninja. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kami, create Kami, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token with. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses life and you gain a life. And you can pay 1 and a Sultai hybrid to have
Simic hybrid.
Oh, sorry, Simic hybrid. Thank you. Green blue for Cenari Toad Raider, and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach.
That's a lot of words to parse. Okay, so let's break this down as we do with these wordy cards. So it's a 3 mana 3/3. Not bad in Ninja. When you cast an enchantment spell, it's almost got like Constellation E, but not Constellation. You get another 3/3, and that 3/3 drains them when you cast other enchantment spells. That's great, right? Just imagine curving this into any enchantment, and a saga or something. You get another 3/3 with that saga. Great, fantastic. And then on top of that, you also got another ability where you essentially give these creatures flying. Is what it comes down to. It's weird flying, but it's
if
flying.
They happen to kill Kami or it dies in combat, and you cast another enchantment, you get to make that token again.
Right. Yep.
This card is nuts.
Great card. Yeah.
This is like solid. This is an A.
Yeah, I'd give this an A-, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
All right. Moving on to Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos. 3 and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature, Ogre Demon. It's got black, sack a creature, scry 2. Just no tap. You can do that as many times as you have black. 2 and a red, tap. Exile the top card of your library. You may play the exile card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, This card deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target.
So in just a black deck, it's a 4-mana 4/4. Pay black, sack a creature, scry 2.
Right.
4-mana 4/4 with upside. That's like probably B- territory.
Yeah, it's a C+.
C+. And then if you got red, that's pretty darn good. It's... To play that card this turn, you need a lot of mana, right?
Yep.
But, you're probably going to have that in the late game when you're activating this.
It's not going to deal 5 or whatever very often. It's going to deal 3 or 2, which is going to be good still. And the idea here is you sacrifice creatures to set up the top card of your library, right? Scry into what you want to get. But it's good. Just altogether, it's maybe a little, I don't want to say clunky, but it's not just comes down, dominates everywhere. You got to do a little bit of work. But just a little bit of work, and this card is going to be really good. Also, it's a sacrifice outlet for, just things that want to be sacrificed. Yeah, I think this card's really solid. I'd give it a B.
Yeah, I like B for Hidetsugu. Next up, we have Invoke Despair. 1 quad black for a sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker.
Oh, we should actually mention on that last card, you don't actually need to play the card to deal damage.
Yeah, you always get to deal the damage.
Yeah, sorry, I maybe was talking as if you did. Sorry, so moving on to Invoke Despair here. Yeah, what do you think of this? This
is not good, right? They sack a thing. If they can't lose 2 life, you draw a card. Then same deal for enchantment and planeswalker. So,
yep.
This is probably you edict them for a creature. Maybe you also edict them for an enchantment, and then they lose 2 and draw a card, and you draw a card for a planeswalker. This just doesn't feel worth it for the hoops you have to jump through for the mana.
Yeah, this is like a C, maybe. Yeah, I think it's about a C if you can cast it, and I wouldn't work hard to cast it essentially. So yeah, I don't think this is a very good card. You're not going to play it very often.
Yep.
The Punisher kind of style stuff does not tend to be very good unless the options are both terrible. They're terrible for the opponent, and I don't think the options are so bad here.
Yeah.
The black mythic of the Dragon Cycle, Jinji, the Midnight Sky, 3 black for a 5/5 flying menace. Okay, so it's massive. When it dies, you either choose to each opponent discards 2 and loses 2 life, or you put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Any graveyard, you lose 2 life.
That's pretty dang good.
That's a lot.
5 mana, 5/5 flying menace. When it dies, it turns into the best card that has died already.
Yeah, and it's just a very hard creature to block, and it comes down, blocks things very well. Yeah, I gotta give this an A.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, this is so good. Yeah, flying menace. Why does it need both flying and menace?
Yeah,
it's so stupid. All right, that is black.